Brad's going to talk just a little bit about the virtual hearing process. He's been through it. He can let you know what to expect if it comes to that, and and the status of our courts. Because I think for the most part, courts are still running. I know a lot of common pleas courts and other courts are on pause right now, but the due process courts, the Office of Dispute Resolution, seems like it's running. But Brad will let us know more. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating today and coming out to check out this meeting. Really great topics we're discussing here. But yeah, as Joe indicates, the courts are open in a limited capacity. But let's talk a little bit about that. So today we're going to discuss what is a virtual hearing and some basic vocabulary for today. 2, we're going to talk a little bit about the Office of Dispute Resolution's guidance. 3, we're going to talk about where do virtual hearings happen. 4, we're going to discuss how do they work and what have my experiences been. And we're going to get into the pros and cons. Finally, we're going to ask, are they here to stay? So first, let's go over a little basics. What is a virtual hearing? A little bit of vocab for you. So a virtual hearing, like the name suggests, is a computer-based hearing that happens in a virtual setting over a platform such as GoToMeeting or such as Zoom like we're on now. Again, due process hearing is simply a special education hearing, special education lawsuit. The hearing officer, that's the basically administrative law judge for Pennsylvania parents that's tasked with deciding the cases. The Office of Dispute Resolution simply is the administrative law body that decides and hears the cases on special education disputes. Again, these are hearings that happen from our remote locations. So you might be at home, the hearing officer is going to be at home, the witnesses are going to be at home, but we're all testifying and doing this hearing over a computer setting. So what exactly is the Office of Dispute Resolution's guidance? So on March 31st, 2020, ODR put out their joint statement of ODR and hearing officers. This is their guidance for virtual hearings. The statement notes that during COVID-19, hearings will proceed virtually. The hearing officers will not be forcing in-person hearings, thankfully. Most significantly, the Office for Special Education Programs has not suspended requirements for the IDEA. In other words, the hearing officers have spoken. Your child still has a right to a free, appropriate public education, even during COVID-19. These rights are being vindicated through the virtual hearing process. But the hearing officers are emphasizing that they are encouraging settlement in light of COVID-19. In fact, they've made this clear to the lawyers in each case. Every case I file with ODR, I get an email subsequently from that hearing officer encouraging the lawyers to quickly settle the case. Or the hearing officers schedule us at a really inconvenient time, such as Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The idea is to try to get everyone to settle. They are emphasizing also something called the Hearing Officer Settlement Conference. But if all else fails, they are proceeding remotely with the virtual hearings, and we all get the chance to have our cases heard over this platform. Where do these hearings happen? For today, I'm mostly going to focus on ODR. But if you're a New Jersey parent, they're happening in the Office of Administrative Law. That's New Jersey's Administrative Law Court. They're doing virtual settlement conferences right now. And they're also doing emergent hearings, which are basically emergency hearings, and they're doing them over Zoom. Also of note, juvenile hearings for juvenile offenders are also proceeding through the state courts right now. So if you're in Jersey, that's your Superior Court. If you're in Pennsylvania, that's your Court of Common Pleas. But ODR is mostly doing them through GoToMeeting or platforms such as Zoom. So basically, we're all in this online virtual realm with this. So how do they work, and what have my experiences been? Since COVID, I have not had an ODR hearing. However, I have done them in the past. Though during COVID, I have done some resolution sessions, just got back, as a matter of fact, today from a virtual mediation, and juvenile judges are hearing cases over the telephone. So they're still happening nonetheless. Typically, the ODR hearings happen at your child's school district. You go to the board meeting, or the board room rather, and that's where they're having the hearings. But right now, the hearing officers are circulating a password in advance. So you get a password to log on to the ODR platform. The parties then the parties then pre-circulate their exhibits to all the witnesses, usually in a hard copy, sometimes in an electronic copy. And instead of taking the stand like you would expect in a courtroom or at an in-person due process hearing, the witnesses simply testify from their homes. During this process, I put the question to the witness. Again, they're not on the stand. They're sitting here like we are in a virtual meeting. In fact, both the district and the parents get to put their witnesses on. We go through testimony, direct then cross-examination, where we take turns asking questions, we raise objections. This happened, as a matter of fact, about this time last year. One of the hearing officers has a strong preference for virtual hearings, and it was great. We got through all the witnesses, we got through the exhibits, everyone testified. It was a lot of fun getting to cross-examine the witness for the school district, who frankly didn't know a lot about the evaluation process, so we got to beat her up a little bit nicely, but we beat her up a little bit about her lack of familiarity with the process, and we worked through it. Even though this was online, we were still able to show the hearing officer how little she knew. So again, the major difference is really that this is in an online platform versus being in person. So what exactly are the pros and cons? Well, the pros right now are that we have the convenience of fast resolution, even during COVID-19. Still get to keep our timelines, still get to act in the best interest of the student. Federal government has issued timelines. It says roughly about 75 days. Within 75 days, we want to have that case resolved. So the good news is if I file for due process now, I can get that timeline kept in place and we can still work on your child's case. Everyone still gets their day in court. Even if we're all in quarantine, everyone gets to have their case heard. This also saves time and travel, and everybody's working on behalf of the kids and not just letting COVID get in the way. Some of the cons, I'm old-fashioned. I really prefer to be doing this face-to-face. Being in person makes it more serious. I think the hearing officer or judge can impress upon the parties the seriousness of everything. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call here. Apologize. So in person, you can read body language. I think this is really important for witness testimony and when people are taking the stand. All things are nonverbal in terms of communication, and you learn so much about that when you're in person. Another con is I'm sitting at a desk, whereas I'm in person, I might stand up, walk around the hearing room. I might even go up to the witness stand if it's a difficult witness, just to try to exert a little bit of witness control over them. I can't do that in an online setting. Also, online, I have no way of knowing if people are coaching witnesses through texting. I can't see if they're being slipped notes. So in person, I think it's great that I can actually observe this in real time. However, in light of the current situation, I think it makes the most sense to proceed virtually. Again, we are dealing with children with special needs, and I think it's important to vindicate their rights through the hearing process. Also, settlement is another option, and that's kind of been my experience through much of this, that the parties are working diligently to resolve issues in the best interest of the kids. However, if they don't resolve, we still have the option to go forward with the virtual hearing. Finally, are these virtual hearings here to stay? Well, for now, yes. Experts are saying COVID might still have a second run this fall, coinciding with the flu season. So expect to see more of this, perhaps into the future. At least that's what the experts sadly are telling us. I mean, right now it's just to protect everyone's health and to safeguard the children's rights to FAPE. So I think that they're going to be here to stay for a little bit so we can, really work on vindicating everyone's rights through the IDEA. What will happen after COVID? Some hearing officers have already expressed a great interest in doing this virtually, predating COVID-19. However, I'm hopeful that most of the hearing officers, if not all of them, will get back to doing more in-person hearings. So it's pretty much it in a nutshell. If anyone has any questions, happy to answer them.